There is one thing in my life which I never think I've had enough of. You might think that it could be money or something. Ooh, wait. Let me phrase this again. There are two things in my life which I think I've never had enough of. Sleep and money. However, as a person who only focuses on the present, sleep is my major concern. Seriously, in the morning when you're awakened by your alarm at 6 a.m., what is the first feeling that comes into your brain? The excitement to start a new day? Or the desire to smash your alarm into pieces and grind these pieces into the carpet? Sleep is an essential part of our life as human beings. We spend approximately a third of our lives sleeping, which, if you have the luck to live until 90, is 30 years. So why do we spend so much time sleeping? What does our body do while we are sleeping? And why are we so tired when we are awakened by our alarms? In order to address all these questions, today we are going to drift into sleep, and I will show you the science behind sleep, its importance, and finally, some tips that help you to schedule your sleep. Sleep is a natural state of the body where muscles and sensory organs are relatively inactive, and the human brain is relatively unconscious. A period of sleep which lasts roughly 90 to 100 minutes could be characterized in 5 stages according to the deepness of sleep. These 5 stages could also be characterized in 2 main types. Rapid eye movement sleep, known as REM sleep, which normally occurs at stage 5, and non-REM sleep, which occurs at stages 1 to 4. Though these 2 modes are similar in the way which the body repairs its immune system, muscles, and bones, it is the activity of the brain that separates. During REM sleep, the human mind is very active, and though they are closed, the eyes are always moving in their sockets. So this is a chart of the human brain during REM sleep. You can see that there's a lot of red color in the brain's diagram, and the red stands for activity, and the blue stands for parts that are not moving. Also during REM sleep, our dream, we are most likely to dream, because according to research, people are most likely to give lucid descriptions of their dreams when they're awakened during REM sleep. The non-REM period, which takes up the majority of sleep, is the period where the human mind is relatively still and unmoving. Our breathing, along with heart rate, will gradually decrease. The brain will also generate slow brain waves during the sleep stages of non-REM sleep, such as stage 4, where memories consolidate and muscles repair. As sleep progresses into further cycles, because muscles and bones are already repaired, REM sleep will take up more time in the sleep cycle. Now moving to the importance of sleep. Sleep is not a period where we just drop dead on our beds and waste hours of our lives that could be spent on something more meaningful. Sleep is actually way more complicated, and in fact could be argued as the most important period of our life. Before I start filling this room with praises of sleep, I'd like to start with a short story. The story of how the original Guinness record of staying awake is achieved. In January 1959, a disc jockey named Peter Tripp, who was very famous at his time, decided to start a challenge of staying awake for 200 hours. And he started his challenge in a transparent box at the Times Square in New York. And his challenge was broadcast over television. During the first 2 days of his challenge, Tripp acted just like a normal human being. He did his job as a DJ and joked around with his audience. As the doctor continued to monitor his body, however, it became harder and harder to keep him awake. Tripp would try to trick the doctor monitoring him by telling him that he was just going to the bathroom and attempt to sleep during the process. After the 3rd day, Tripp's personality changed drastically. He began to insult everyone beside him, and he even abused his barber who he'd known for 13 years. The doctor also found out that along with this change in personality, Tripp's body temperature began to decline, and later they found out that he begun to hallucinate, and he mistook one of his doctors as an assassin. Surprisingly, the doctors found out that Tripp's brain was actually entering REM sleep while he was awake, and it follows the schedule of 90 minutes, just as a normal sleep schedule. Tripp was daydreaming. Finally, after 201 long hours of restless suffering, Peter Tripp ended his challenge and slept for almost a whole day. Although later he claimed that nothing had changed after this challenge, according to his wife and his close friends, Tripp changed drastically from a good-natured young man into a drowsy person without any energy. And later, Tripp lost his job and got divorced with his wife. From this short story, I hope that it will appear clear for you to see that an intense lack of sleep would affect a person dramatically. And also, besides of this situation like Tripp's, the accumulation of sleep debt is also very harmful, because during the fourth stage of non-REM sleep, cerebral spinal fluids will flow into the human brain and wash away substances such as harmful proteins, which basically rinses the brain. And while if a person's brain is not washed frequently due to the lack of sleep, the harmful proteins will accumulate and cause serious diseases such as Alzheimer's, in which the brain functions will slowly lose. Besides this, the lack of sleep can also potentially lead to the weakening of the immune system and heart diseases, which could cause serious harm to our health. Now, returning to the situation I described during the start of my speech about you being awakened by your alarm, the desire of you wanting to smash your alarm is likely because you are awakened during the middle of a sleep cycle. As I mentioned above, a sleep cycle is 90 minutes, and it is during the start and end of these 90-minute cycles that we are most likely to wake up without feeling any sort of tiredness. In contrast, if you're awakened by your alarm during deep sleep, which is sometimes close to stage 4, it would take a huge effort to wake you up, and you'd be furious when you're awakened. So, how could we prevent this from happening? Well, the best way is to schedule an alarm and let it go off during the end of the closest cycle that you could reach. This could be done by estimating the time that takes to go into sleep, added to the number of cycles that you want to sleep. For example, it takes me 20 minutes to go into sleep, and I normally go to bed at 11 p.m. due to my glorious homework load, and I must wake up before 7 a.m. I would set my alarm to 6:50 so that I could sleep for 5 full cycles and wake up earlier than 7 so I could clear my mind. By doing this, waking up will not become as painful as it used to be, and I'd be able to start my day in a positive mindset. Finally, as we slowly drift out of our sleep and recall everything we've experienced in the past few minutes, we learned that sleep is consisted of 90-minute cycles with 5 stages and 2 main types: REM and non-REM sleep. We also explored the significance of sleep and looked at its devastating impacts on the lack of sleep. And lastly, we settled on a smart trick of scheduling our sleep, ending with the quote from William Shakespeare about sleep: "Innocent sleep, sleep that soothes away our worries, sleep that puts each day to rest, sleep that relieves the weary laborer and heals hurt minds, sleep, the main course of life's feast, and the most nourishing." Thank you very much.